I grew up in a small town called Yarra Glen in the Yarra Valley, and I played my first game of Aussie Rules football when I was 5 years old. I was 12 years old when I first figured out that I was gay. And at the time, I thought that this was the worst possible thing that I could be. I found the courage to reach out to a friend. But when her reaction was positive, that was the start for me on my journey towards self-acceptance. I kind of came to the realization that if I only live one time, I may as well do what makes me happy. I may as well be the person that I am and not worry so much about what other people are going to think about me. And I can remember really clearly the first time that it came up in conversation with one of my teammates. I was 22 years old. We were in the club rooms after training one night, and one of my teammates had broken up with his girlfriend. And because I knew both of them, I asked him what had happened and how he was doing. And after a bit of back and forward, he put it back onto me and he said, "Oh, what about you, Bally? Aren't you seeing someone at the moment?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm seeing someone." And my teammate said, "Well, what's his name?" And my heart started beating really fast. I thought maybe he was testing me. And I just said, "His name is James." And my teammate said, "Well, has he come to any football matches yet?" And I said, "No, he hasn't." He goes, "Oh, we should bring him down. It'd be really great to meet him." And this just felt like a weight had been lifted off my shoulders. And one by one, conversations like this kept happening in my football club where my teammates would reach out to me to say, "We know that you're gay and it's not a big deal to us."
It's come to a point in time where they recognise that fairness and inclusion, or diversity and inclusion, or whatever you want to call it, is a must, and it's not an option now. It's not necessarily just a nice to do. It was a male-dominated, I knew that before I joined, male-dominated white job, but I was happy to be there. But this was a movie. This was the middle of a day on a Sunday, and there were overtly violent scenes in the movie, and you know what I'm talking about. And the collective laughter, to me, was illustrative of the fact that there was no emotional intelligence in the room. It was uncomfortable laughter, basically, based on the fact that they didn't know how to express another emotion. It's not necessarily a throwaway to say that men tend not to access help. That changes a bit, and in my mind, and from my experience, that's changed because of gender inclusion. Because they're actually talking to their peers, they're talking to their female colleagues about issues that they've gone through, or whether it's a natural disaster, or whether it's marital problems, or whether it's problems with their children. They're actually opening up to their female colleagues because they just do. I'm hoping that it starts a discourse, and I'm hoping they include women in that as well, because quite often they get left out of the discussions about how we should be including them into the services.
So if you work with victims, or if you work with perpetrators, you know that the story of violence is complicated. Often for violent men, there's actually a lot going on in their lives. They're not just sexist or misogynist. There are a lot of things. But the question is, okay, well, if we want to prevent violence against women, how do we do it? Where do we direct our efforts? No man was born wanting to beat or rape the people that he cares about. Something has gone wrong along the way for him. Everybody wants to be good. And so framing prevention for men and boys in the context of what they want out of their lives, which is ultimately they want meaningful, lasting relationships. They want to be a good dad, but even in an institutional context, they want to be a good manager, right? They want to be a good colleague. There are ways to make violence prevention and gender equality resonant for men and boys.
For me, I was very lucky at the age of about 16 to run into a bloke named Jim Steins who played for the Melbourne Football Club. And it was the first time that I'd seen kind of both sides of the coin of masculinity. I didn't really know that existed. I think if there's one place we're falling short for blokes, it's in the art of communication. We're not great at having conversations. We're not great at creating environments where conversations take place either. B, you're asking the question how you are. Partner A, you're answering. I'm going to tell you when your 2 minutes is up. And remember, this is uninterrupted, so no talking back. So, take it away. I love this one. We don't teach that emotional muscle how to train, and that emotional muscle is just like a physical muscle. So it starts at a young age, training that emotional muscle, teaching those elements of communication so that these young blokes, as they grow up, they're ready for the world. They're ready to have conversations, and that they know how to support their mates, they know how to support their partners, they know how to support their friends, their family, their kids.